Jackson Radio Show.
One of my producers asked me, Kevin, why do you explain radio to the audience? And I go, I don't know. It's a topic of conversation. It's part of life. It's a conversation I've had with myself, conversation I've had with family, friends. Why do it? How much time does it take? How much prep? How much do you make? What are your plans? I could go on and on and on with just a litany of questions and the things that I soul search about. Why do I share this? Because guess what? It's who I am. I talked earlier about faith. This show today was really about faith. And one thing about faith is always be yourself and express yourself and have faith in yourself. And the other side of that is don't try to be something somebody else is. Kevin, my producer says, I don't think I've ever heard any other radio host talk about the production of radio. I don't believe that's the case. It's not like he's listening to everybody's radio show. No offense to you, man. But, I listen to everybody's radio show. I bet there are a lot of people that express their frustrations with radio or how much they think it's great. Lots of aspects, everything in between, right? But I've decided to share because I want you to understand that we're important to one another, and I'm trying to help us figure out why. I don't know. I'm not telling you I have the answer, just so we're clear on it. Everybody's listening to the radio. My producer is looking at me like, you're going to give us the answer? No, I don't have an answer. I just know we all have better things to do, and we've decided to do this. I believe it's because we've seen how the world has gotten off tilt. The axis is tilted left, and we're trying to tilt it back. And I think we have to some degree. And what I'm saying to you is it's like the devil. He's going to always look for ways to penetrate your armor. You sharpened all your weapons and you polished up the brass and everything, and you are a knight ready to go to battle. And on November 8th, 2016, you couldn't have looked any better, man. You looked marvelous. That was the prettiest you could possibly be. And now, you're going to give up the modeling career and you're on the you're just about to retire because you're going, I'm not going to keep my looks forever. And now the battle begins. The battle with time, the battle with age, the battle with self-doubt, lots of stuff. And what I'm telling you is you don't have to worry about that stuff. Number one, you don't have to worry about it because there's a higher power that drives all of it. I know it may sound bizarre. Stephen Hawkins, who just died the other day, he said something like, for those of you who believe in predestiny, he goes, why is it you still look both ways when you cross the street? Now, this is a guy who's an atheist. He says that you can't prove God with science, ergo, it doesn't exist. I find it interesting that anybody who studies astrophysics can say that God doesn't exist. When you think about the expansion of the universe and everything that we know about the universe, there's no possibility of believing that God doesn't exist. But Stephen Hawking says, well, if you're one of these people that believes that it's all predetermined, why are you looking when you cross the street? And I say to one of the most brilliant minds supposedly that ever existed, Stephen, if I don't look before I cross the street, don't you think that's part of my destiny? In other words, he's saying if you just blindly walk in front of traffic in New York City, you're going to get killed. Yeah, that's why I don't do it. And God knows I'm not going to do it because he put that in my head. Don't walk across the street without looking in the traffic or you're going to get killed. Stephen Hawking answers his own question but doesn't even know that he's answered it. It's predetermined, right? I should just go play on the freeway. Yeah, I should cut myself with rusty nails or knives, or step on them and not go to the doctor, or not treat infections, or not take precautions for this or that, not train, not do whatever. That's just ridiculous. Everything that you do is part of that destiny. Knucklehead Hawkins. It's not an intellectual comment. And what's funny, people believe that's one of the things that they quote on this guy when he dies. Stephen Hawking died and he made this comment, like it's so profound. Hawkins made the famous quote, do you believe in, predestined outcomes and this higher power of yours? Then why do you still look both ways when you cross the street? And people are like, oh, he's so deep. He's not deep at all. Look, Hawkins has got a brilliant mind when it comes to math. I'm a mathematician, and I'll promise you, I can't hold a single. I mean, there's nothing about my math career that's going to impose on his at all. But on comments like that, I can show you how stupid he is. And I think I just did. There's genius in all of us. And Hawkins wants to believe that because of his work in astrophysics, that he can be a genius in life in explaining the universe and the cosmos and God to you. What's interesting to me is he looks at God every day and he overlooks him. He misses him. I'll give him a pass because he's got some quirks himself. Stephen Hawking does. Oy. Be faithful in the small things, because in them your strength lies. Mother Teresa said that. We're easy to want to look at, and I'm just going to use Hawkins as an example. We look at this person and we say, that's a great man. Therefore, ergo, everything that he says must be great. And I'll hang on to it. And, oh, I so wish I could be this or that, or be, have his intellect or whatever. I wish for nothing of Stephen Hawkins. And I'm saying, even if he didn't have, I think it's what it is, they got cerebral palsy. Even if he didn't have it. I watched the show. What was it called? The something of everything. The theory of everything. Good looking kid. Obviously an amazing intellect, mathematically, from a math and science perspective. A gift from God. That's the only thing that can be said. It is a gift from God to have that level of intellect in terms of math and science. Most people have to work at that. He's just naturally gifted with it. And anyway, he developed cerebral palsy or whatever disease that he had. I think it was no, it wasn't cerebral palsy. It was Lou Gehrig's disease? Anyway, he lived longer than anybody with whatever disease he had. And got lots of accolades that, quite frankly, were undeserved. I've done some study on him, and he's not nearly the brilliant physicist that everybody made him out to be. I mean, he is brilliant, but I'm saying there were people that are held in more high esteem and have actually debunked many of the theories that he's had. But I'm not going to take that away from him. Brilliant guy. Watch the film. He could do homework on a napkin and turn it in a second. I mean, he was brilliant. And good for him. And sad to tell you, he's not in the kingdom of heaven. Maybe he doesn't care. I'm sure his family doesn't care. It's his life to lead. But he was an atheist. And he imparted that on other people and made them feel little, I believe, in some ways. Because, he's this brilliant guy who's saying your belief system is flawed. And, if you can't prove it with science, then it's flawed. In other words, if you walk by faith and not by sight, well, you're a flawed person. Your intellect is off. You've got a bad calculus. You need to recalibrate. And I say to him, he needs to recalibrate. And I use this quote because I think that it's applicable in explaining that he's not brilliant in everything. In fact, in some things, he's quite stupid. And though I wish nothing bad for Stephen Hawking, as I said earlier, he's not with God.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.